Positive Communication, Transforming Conflicts into Connections. Read and published by Mr. Books. In a world overflowing with swift messages, digital exchanges, and the constant clamor of voices seeking to be heard, genuine communication is too often overlooked. We stumble through conversations burdened by misunderstandings and fractured by disagreements. Yet within every interaction lies the potential not just to avoid conflict, but to harness its energy and create deeper, more meaningful connections. The pathway to such transformation is positive communication, an approach that cultivates understanding, fosters empathy, and transforms discord into constructive dialogue. This book is an invitation to embark on an exploration of communication that is grounded in kindness and strengthened by emotional awareness. We will journey together into the intricate art of expressing ourselves honestly while listening deeply to others. From the words we choose to the way our bodies subtly speak, every chapter will unveil tools and insights for turning even the most challenging moments into opportunities for growth and connection. You'll discover why conflicts arise, how they can illuminate unspoken needs, and in turn, provide fertile ground for relationships to flourish. We will examine why miscommunication is so common, especially in fast-paced or high-stress situations, and learn practical strategies for recognizing and avoiding common pitfalls. Central to our journey is the practice of empathy, the ability to stand in the shoes of another and truly appreciate their feelings and perspective. As we traverse the bridge of empathy, we'll see how it can dissolve barriers, encourage acceptance, and allow us to find common ground even amidst disagreement. By exploring the role of emotional intelligence in our everyday conversations, we will come to understand how awareness of our own emotions, as well as those of others, can gently guide interactions toward openness rather than confrontation. The silent force of body language, often louder than words, will be demystified, revealing the hidden stories we tell without speaking. Finally, we will learn to transform criticism, so often a source of pain, into constructive, relationship-building conversations. The tools you'll encounter here are not mere techniques. They are invitations to build trust, respect, and genuine connection with those in your life. Whether you are seeking more harmonious relationships with loved ones, wishing to navigate workplace conflict with grace, or simply yearning to be better understood, this book will equip you with the skills and wisdom needed to turn conflicts into connections. The art of positive communication awaits. Let us embark on this journey together with empathy, curiosity, and hope. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button to support the channel. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an audiobook that could change your life. Now let's begin. Enjoy. Chapter 1. The Power of Words, Shaping Reality and Relationships. Words are the building blocks of human connection. They hold immense power to create, heal, destroy, or restore. Every conversation we have is an opportunity to shape our reality and mold the relationships around us. Yet the impact of words is often underestimated. Carefully chosen words can soothe a wounded spirit, ignite hope in the heart, or clarify intentions in moments of misunderstanding. From early childhood, we are taught the art of language. We learn to express needs, desires, and emotions through vocabulary, tone, and inflection. But using words effectively is a lifelong journey, a practice that deepens as we learn to communicate not just information, but compassion. Positive communication begins with the recognition that words are not neutral carriers of meaning. They are charged with emotion, intention, and cultural nuance. When we speak, our words can affirm or invalidate. They can invite engagement or provoke defensiveness. A simple "I hear you" can defuse tension, signaling respect and openness. In contrast, words uttered carelessly, "you never listen," can reinforce emotional distance and escalate conflict. Consider the difference between "what's wrong with you" and "can you help me understand what's happening?" The latter fosters curiosity and preserves the dignity of both speaker and listener, opening space for dialogue. The former implies blame and triggers defensiveness, often leading to cycles of miscommunication. Our internal thoughts, expressed through words, also shape our experiences. Self-criticism, spoken softly to oneself, can erode self-esteem and make us less receptive to connection. In contrast, compassionate self-talk, "I'm doing my best. It's okay to be imperfect," encourages resilience and empowers us to engage more positively with others. In relationships, the conscious choice of words establishes trust and safety. Partners, friends, and colleagues thrive when communication is respectful and affirming. Trust is built word by word, each honest exchange reinforcing the foundation of mutual understanding. However, the power of words can also disrupt relationships. Sarcasm, criticism, or ambiguity may breed confusion and resentment. Mixed messages, saying one thing while meaning another, leave others guessing, causing distrust and anxiety. It is essential, therefore, to strive for clarity and sincerity. Clear messages, delivered with kindness, illuminate the path toward connection. Becoming aware of the emotional impact of words invites us to exercise intentionality in communication. Before speaking, ask, "What is my intention? Am I seeking to understand, to persuade, or simply to vent my emotions?" By reflecting on these questions, we become architects of connection. To wield the power of words positively, practice active appreciation, compliment genuinely, express gratitude freely, and acknowledge the efforts and feelings of others. A heartfelt "thank you for sharing that with me" can transform routine interaction into a memorable connection. Furthermore, learning to apologize sincerely is a cornerstone of positive communication. "I'm sorry for hurting you. It was not my intention," demonstrates humility and a willingness to restore the relationship. Such admissions, far from weakening us, foster strength and deepen bonds. In moments of tension, choose words that bridge rather than divide. Instead of "you always," which generalizes and blames, use "I feel" statements. "I feel overlooked when decisions are made without my input." The latter invites understanding and dialogue, rather than defensiveness. Language also shapes shared meaning within groups. In workplaces, organizational culture is built on collective narratives shaped by the words leaders use. Encouraging language, "we are in this together," creates unity and collaboration. Exclusive language, "this is not your concern," sows division and limits engagement. Ultimately, the power of words lies not in eloquence, but in authenticity and care. When words come from a place of empathy, they have the capacity to heal wounds, nurture growth, and transform ordinary conversations into extraordinary opportunities for connection. As you journey deeper into the art of positive communication, remember, every word you speak is an offering. Make yours count, and witness the profound impact you can have on the reality and relationships around you. Chapter 2. Why we miscommunicate. Common traps and blind spots. Miscommunication is an inevitable part of human interaction. Despite our intentions, words are frequently misunderstood, feelings are overlooked, and confusion proliferates. At the heart of positive communication lies the willingness to acknowledge why we so often stumble, not to assign blame, but to chart a pathway toward greater clarity and connection. One primary source of miscommunication is assumption. We assume that others share our perspectives, cultural backgrounds, and emotional states. These assumptions cloud judgment, leading us to interpret messages through personal filters rather than engaging with the speaker's context. For instance, a phrase meant to be playful in one culture might seem disrespectful in another. Blind spots are another frequent culprit, patterns of behavior or belief that operate outside our conscious awareness. These blind spots stem from upbringing, past experiences, biases, and unexamined expectations. Someone accustomed to blunt honesty may not realize how their candor is perceived as harsh by others who value diplomacy. Emotions are powerful influences in communication. When anxious, angry, or defensive, our capacity to listen and interpret accurately diminishes. In emotionally charged situations, we are prone to hear criticism where none was intended, or to respond with unnecessary aggression. Recognizing these emotional triggers and naming them, "I feel defensive right now," can help diffuse misunderstandings. The pace of modern life also contributes to miscommunication. Rapid exchanges leave little room for reflection, and the brevity of digital communication often strips messages of nuance. Texts and emails, devoid of tone and body language, are fertile ground for misreading intention. A simple "okay" can be interpreted as agreement, indifference, or even irritation, depending on context and emotional state. Another common trap is selective listening. Rather than absorbing the full scope of a message, we focus on points of disagreement or perceived threat, preparing a rebuttal rather than seeking shared understanding. This adversarial approach transforms dialogue into competition, where the goal is to win rather than connect. Distractions, too, undermine communication. Multitasking during conversations or dividing our attention between screens and speakers sends nonverbal signals of disengagement. The message received is not just in our words, but in the care with which we listen. Language itself can be a barrier. Jargon, technical terms, or ambiguous phrases can leave others confused, particularly in professional or multicultural settings. Ensuring language is accessible and appropriate to the audience demonstrates respect and fosters clarity. Cultural differences profoundly shape communication styles. Some cultures prize directness, while others value tact and subtlety. Unawareness of these differences can lead to unintended offense or misinterpretation. Cross-cultural competence involves not only adapting language, but understanding the underlying values that inform conversational norms. In addition, power dynamics impact communication. Individuals may feel unable to speak freely in hierarchical environments, or may distort their message to align with authority. A workplace where junior employees hesitate to raise concerns breeds frustration and erodes trust. Technology introduces new complexities. Autocorrect errors, lost emails, or tone-deaf messages sent at inappropriate times can all contribute to confusion. Despite these traps and blind spots, positive communication is possible. The antidote is humility, the willingness to admit we do not know or understand and to seek clarity. Can you clarify what you meant? Or let me make sure I understand. Did you say? Such questions signal curiosity, respect, and a commitment to connection. Restating what you heard and inviting feedback. This is what I took from our conversation. Is that accurate? Helps ensure alignment and minimizes misunderstanding. Finally, developing self-awareness and emotional agility enables us to recognize our triggers and biases. Through mindfulness and reflection, we become attuned to moments of miscommunication, transforming them into opportunities for growth and connection. Miscommunication is not a failing, but a gateway to deeper understanding. By embracing curiosity, empathy, and relentless attention to clarity, we move beyond the traps and blind spots that divide us, toward the connections that enrich our lives. Chapter 3. Listening to understand, not to reply. Listening is the quiet cornerstone of positive communication. It is an act of generosity, a deliberate choice to suspend judgment, silence internal dialogue, and open oneself fully to another. Yet too often we listen merely to reply, not to understand. Our attention is partial, our minds busy rehearsing responses or counter-arguments. This habit, while ubiquitous, perpetuates cycles of conflict and disconnection. Real listening begins with presence, the intention to be here, now, wholly focused on the speaker. This requires more than just hearing words. It demands attunement to emotion, context, and nuance. When we listen deeply, we signal respect and validation, laying the foundation for trust. Many obstacles impede true listening. Distractions, a buzzing phone, wandering thoughts, fracture attention. The urge to provide solutions or assert opinions reorients focus away from understanding. Cultural and personal biases filter what we hear, coloring perception with preconceived notions. Overcoming these obstacles begins with mindfulness. To listen with presence, slow down, set aside devices, make eye contact, and cultivate an internal stillness. Remind yourself, your purpose here is connection, not correction. Ask open-ended questions. Can you tell me more about that? Or how did that make you feel? These invitations elicit richer, more authentic responses. They show the speaker that you are not merely waiting for your turn to speak, but are actively invested in their experience. Reflective listening goes beyond words. Tune in to tone, body language, and pauses. Sometimes what is unsaid reveals more than what is spoken. A hesitancy, a sigh, or averted eyes. Acknowledge these cues gently. I noticed you paused just now. Would you like to share what's on your mind? Avoid interrupting, even with supportive comments. Let silence do its work. It creates space for contemplation and deeper sharing. If your own emotions rise, defensiveness, frustration, notice them without judgment. Instead of reacting, choose curiosity. I'm having a strong reaction, and I want to understand why. Can you help me see your perspective? Paraphrasing is a powerful tool. Restating what you've heard, so what you're saying is, confirms accuracy and offers clarification. It also reassures the speaker that their message has been genuinely received. Validation is key. I can see why you'd feel that way, or your perspective makes sense. This does not require agreement, but communicates empathy and acceptance. When conflict arises, listening is often the first casualty. Voices grow louder, stances harden, and the true issue becomes obscured. Positive communication restores order by returning to listening. It enables us to grasp not just what is said, but what matters to the speaker, needs, values, hopes, and fears. Listening to understand dissolves defensiveness. When others feel heard, their need to justify and repeat themselves diminishes. The conversation shifts from confrontation to collaboration. Participants feel empowered to seek solutions rather than apportion blame. Active listening strengthens relationships. Partners who listen deeply foster intimacy and reduce resentment. In workplaces, leaders who prioritize listening cultivate trust, innovation, and engagement. Among friends, attentive listening lays the groundwork for enduring bonds. To cultivate this skill, practice daily. In routine interactions, pause and commit to true listening. Notice the difference it makes. Responses become more thoughtful, misunderstandings decrease, and moments of connection multiply. Listening to understand requires patience, humility, and courage. It asks us to set aside ego and embrace discomfort, knowing that full understanding may not always be possible. Still, the attempt is transformative. It bridges divides, fosters empathy, and opens space for healing and growth. Let listening be your gift to yourself and to others. By choosing understanding over reply, you create the conditions for positive communication and invite others into the heart of connection. Chapter 4. The role of empathy in building bridges. Empathy is the lifeblood of positive communication. It allows us to peer beyond the surface of words and gestures, entering into the emotional reality of another. Empathy does not mean agreement, it means understanding, honoring the validity of another's experience and responding with compassion. In a world where conflict is common and divisiveness runs deep, empathy is the force that builds bridges. It dissolves barriers created by misunderstandings and enables us to relate authentically, even in moments of disagreement. Empathy operates on several levels: emotional, cognitive, and compassionate. Emotional empathy is the ability to feel what another feels. Cognitive empathy involves intellectually grasping their perspective. Compassionate empathy goes a step further, motivating us to act in ways that support or alleviate suffering. The practice of empathy begins with self-awareness. We must first acknowledge our own feelings and biases before extending understanding to others. When a conversation triggers discomfort or defensiveness, pause and ask, what is arising in me? What might be happening for them? This dual awareness is the foundation of empathic communication. Active listening is essential to empathy. By attending fully to verbal and nonverbal cues, we gain insight into the speaker's emotional world. Notice shifts in tone, gestures, and expressions. When appropriate, name what you observe. It sounds like you're feeling frustrated, or I see how much this matters to you. Empathy flourishes in spaces of safety. In relationships where judgment is suspended and each person feels accepted, the risk of vulnerability diminishes. Empathy transforms defensiveness into openness, making conflict less about winning and more about understanding. In conflict, empathy is often in short supply. Stress, anger, and fear narrow our focus, reducing our ability to consider others' feelings. Practicing empathy in these moments is challenging, yet crucial. It requires us to set aside our rightness and ask, what is it like for them? Or what unmet need might be driving their stance? Empathy entails perspective-taking. Step mentally into the other's shoes. If a colleague objects to your idea, instead of assuming opposition, consider their workload, past experiences, or unspoken concerns. This shift from self-focus to other focus diffuses tension and opens creative solutions. Empathy also means holding space for emotions without judgment. When someone is grieving, angry, or afraid, resist the urge to minimize or fix. Instead, offer understanding. I'm here with you. I can only imagine what you're going through. In this way, empathy becomes an act of solidarity. Groups and organizations thrive on empathy. Teams that practice empathic listening innovate more effectively, resolve conflicts with less friction, and sustain morale. Leadership grounded in empathy sees employees as whole people, not just roles or resources. Barriers to empathy are real. Fatigue, stress, and cultural differences can numb our empathy. To overcome these, practice self-care and cultivate curiosity about others' lives. Exposure to diverse stories through books, media, or conversation broadens our empathic capacity. Empathy is not weakness. It is the courage to be vulnerable and the resilience to embrace discomfort for the sake of connection. By building bridges of empathy, we navigate differences with grace and foster relationships that endure. As you move through life, make empathy a conscious choice. Let it guide your words, shape your responses, and transform every conflict into an opportunity for deeper understanding and connection. Chapter 5. From Arguments to Agreements, Finding Common Ground. Arguments are unavoidable in any relationship. Diverging interests, values, and perspectives ensure that conflict will arise. Yet the way we approach disagreements shapes their outcome. Conflict can be destructive, leading to broken trust and resentment, or constructive, generating insight and strengthening bonds. The transition from arguments to agreements is a journey of finding common ground. It requires us to set aside win-lose thinking and embrace collaboration. Positive communication is the compass that guides us on this path, transforming divisive moments into opportunities for discovery and growth. Begin by reframing the argument. Instead of seeing conflict as a battle to be won, view it as a shared problem to be solved. Replace adversarial language, "You're wrong," with collaborative questions. How can we address this together? This shift opens space for mutual exploration rather than entrenched opposition. Acknowledging emotions is crucial. Arguments are rarely just about ideas. They touch upon needs, fears, and hopes. When emotions are recognized, I can see that this issue is frustrating for you. They lose their intensity and allow for reasoned dialogue. Active listening is your ally. During disagreement, listen more than you speak. Try to understand the underlying interests behind positions. What are you hoping for here? Or what worries you about this solution? By revealing deeper needs, you uncover potential areas of agreement. Identify shared values. Even in heated debate, parties often have common goals: security, respect, or well-being. Highlight these points of agreement. We both care about making this work, or I think we both want to feel respected. Shared values create a foundation for collaboration. Practice curiosity. Instead of defending your stance, inquire about theirs. Can you tell me more about why this matters to you? Or what would a good outcome look like for you? Genuine curiosity disarms defensiveness and fosters openness. Avoid escalation. Arguments often spiral due to inflammatory language or rigid thinking. If tempers flare, pause and suggest a break. I'm feeling too upset to continue constructively. Can we revisit this in an hour? Cooling off prevents damage and gives space for reflection. Offer compromises. Agreements rarely satisfy everyone's needs fully. Be willing to adapt and propose creative solutions. What if we tried this approach for a week and then reviewed together? Flexibility demonstrates goodwill and paves the way for resolution. Use collaborative language. We and us signal partnership, while you and I reinforce division. Frame sentences around mutual goals. How can we move forward together? Document agreements. In workplaces and families, written understanding averts future confusion. Summarize decisions and clarify action steps to maintain accountability and transparency. Forgiving past grievances is essential. Unresolved history permeates current arguments. Address lingering issues with honesty and openness. There's something from last time that's still bothering me. Can we talk about it? Celebrate progress. Transitioning from argument to agreement, even on small points, deserves recognition. We managed to find a solution we both feel good about. I appreciate your openness. Through positive communication, arguments become opportunities for learning and connection. By seeking common ground, we transcend division and forge enduring agreements rooted in respect and empathy. Let every disagreement be a catalyst, not for estrangement, but for deeper understanding and collaborative growth, certainly. You requested a book title and full content based on the theme, Positive Communication, Transforming Conflicts into Connections, providing chapter outlines. And you asked that everything be delivered in English. I will follow your outline and generate an engaging title, 8 sections, a comprehensive introduction, and in-depth chapters that follow your requirements. Chapter 6, Emotional Intelligence in Everyday Conversations. Emotional intelligence, frequently abbreviated as EI or EQ, emotional quotient, is the cornerstone of effective, positive communication. It is the skill that allows us to perceive, understand, and influence our own emotions and those of others. While intellectual intelligence, IQ, is traditionally emphasized, research increasingly shows that EQ is a greater predictor of success in relationships, workplace interactions, and overall life satisfaction. In this chapter, we delve into the components of emotional intelligence, its relevance in everyday conversations, and practical strategies for enhancing it. At its core, emotional intelligence comprises 4 main skills: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. Self-awareness is the ability to accurately identify your own emotions as they occur, as well as understand their impact on your thoughts and behavior. In conversation, self-aware individuals are able to monitor their emotional state, notice when their feelings are escalating, and regulate their reactions. This awareness is the first step in preventing conflicts from spiraling out of control. Self-management involves controlling or redirecting toxic emotions and adapting to changing circumstances. People who manage their emotions well can stay calm in stressful situations, maintain objectivity, and respond to provocations with composure. For example, if you feel anger rising during a disagreement, self-management helps you pause, take a deep breath, and choose a response that de-escalates rather than inflames the situation. Social awareness is the ability to empathize, to read the room, and to understand others' emotional states. In daily conversations, this manifests as sensitivity to nonverbal cues, listening actively and paying attention to what is not being said. For instance, noticing someone's discomfort or anxiety can guide you to adjust your approach, ask supportive questions, or provide reassurance. Relationship management is the skill of influencing and inspiring others in positive ways. It encompasses clear communication, conflict resolution, and nurturing trust. In practice, this means being transparent about your feelings, setting boundaries respectfully, and striving for win-win outcomes. Let us consider a workplace scenario. Imagine you're in a meeting, presenting your ideas, and a colleague interrupts with criticism. With high emotional intelligence, instead of reacting defensively, you pause and observe your feelings. You recognize a surge of frustration, but choose to address the comment thoughtfully, saying, "I appreciate your perspective. Can you elaborate on how you think this approach could be improved?" This response diffuses potential tension and invites constructive dialogue. Building emotional intelligence starts with self-reflection. Journaling, mindfulness, and feedback from trusted peers can heighten self-awareness. Practicing self-management may involve techniques like deep breathing, cognitive reframing, or timeouts during heated moments. Social awareness expands as you cultivate curiosity about others. Ask open-ended questions, observe body language, and listen without judgment. Empathy grows through shared experiences and deliberate perspective-taking. For relationship management, focus on assertive, not aggressive, communication. Express your needs clearly, acknowledge others' viewpoints, and seek common ground. Repair ruptures quickly with sincere apologies or clarifications. In summary, emotional intelligence transforms how we connect with those around us. By fostering self-awareness, managing emotions, empathizing with others, and nurturing relationships, every conversation becomes an opportunity for deeper connection rather than conflict. As you practice these skills, you will notice improved communication, stronger bonds, and greater satisfaction in your interactions. Chapter 7. How body language speaks louder than words. Communication is far more than what we say. Our bodies broadcast messages that words often cannot encapsulate. In fact, studies suggest that up to 93% of communication is nonverbal, including gestures, posture, facial expressions, eye contact, and even the use of space. Understanding body language not only helps us decipher hidden meanings behind words, but also allows us to present ourselves more authentically, building trust and rapport. Let's begin with facial expressions, which are perhaps the most universally understood forms of nonverbal communication. A genuine smile signals friendliness, openness, and willingness to connect, while a furrowed brow can suggest confusion or displeasure. Being sensitive to facial cues allows us to adjust our approach. For instance, noticing a listener's confused expression might prompt us to clarify our message. Gestures are another vital aspect. The way we move our hands while talking can emphasize points, express enthusiasm, or signal nervousness. Open gestures, with palms visible, tend to convey honesty and transparency, while closed gestures, such as crossed arms, might suggest defensiveness or discomfort. When you want to create a connection, keep your gestures relaxed and welcoming. Posture speaks volumes about our internal states. Sitting or standing upright signals confidence and engagement. Slouched or hunched postures may communicate disinterest, fatigue, or insecurity. In conversations, maintaining good posture paired with a slight forward lean can show active listening and involvement. Eye contact is a cornerstone of trust. Consistent but not aggressive, eye contact communicates attentiveness, respect, and sincerity. Avoiding eye contact may suggest anxiety or evasion, while prolonged staring might intimidate. Striking a balance is key. Be attuned to cultural norms, as different societies hold varying expectations regarding eye contact. Proxemics, the study of personal space, is crucial too. Standing too close may feel invasive, while too much distance can signal detachment. The appropriate space varies by relationship and context. Respecting these boundaries sets the stage for open communication. Being aware of body language isn't just about reading others. It's also about managing your own nonverbal signals. If you wish to foster positive communication, ensure that your facial expressions, gestures, posture, and eye contact reinforce your intentions. For example, delivering feedback with a warm smile and open stance can soften difficult conversations. Body language frequently reveals what words obscure. Nervous habits like fidgeting or avoiding eye contact can clue you into someone's anxiety or discomfort, even when they verbally assert that everything is fine. Conversely, congruence between words and body language reinforces sincerity. To enhance your nonverbal communication skills, practice self-observation. Video record yourself in conversation and notice habitual gestures or expressions. Seek feedback from trusted friends about the impressions you create. Experiment with intentional body language. Open your posture during meetings. Maintain gentle eye contact during discussions. And mirror positive gestures to foster rapport. Remember, body language is deeply influenced by culture, personality, and context. What works in one setting may backfire in another. Awareness and adaptability go hand in hand with effective nonverbal communication. In conclusion, mastering the language of the body amplifies your impact in every interaction. By aligning your nonverbal signals with your words, you build trust, resolve misunderstandings, and create spaces where genuine connection can flourish. Chapter 8. Turning criticism into constructive dialogue. Criticism is an inevitable part of life. Whether received from friends, family, colleagues, or even strangers, it often sparks discomfort, defensiveness, and sometimes conflict. Yet the ability to turn criticism into constructive dialogue is a transformative skill, converting potentially divisive moments into opportunities for growth, collaboration, and deeper understanding. To do so, we must first shift our mindset about criticism. Many view criticism as an attack, but constructive feedback is, at its best, a tool for learning and improvement. Separating the message from personal identity is crucial. Focus on the issue, not the ego. When criticism arises, start by managing your initial reaction. Emotional intelligence is essential here. Upon receiving negative feedback, pause and breathe. Resist the urge to react defensively or counterattack. Instead, acknowledge your feelings, perhaps embarrassment, irritation, or even shame, and choose to respond with curiosity rather than judgment. Next, actively listen to the critic. Offer them space to share their perspective fully before you respond. Ask clarifying questions. Could you explain what led you to feel this way? Or can you give specific examples? This approach signals your openness to their input and helps clarify any misconceptions. Seek the core of the feedback. Sometimes criticism is vague or emotionally charged. Distill the underlying concern and address it. For example, if a colleague says, "You never listen to my ideas," you might respond, "It sounds like you feel unheard in meetings. Can you share how I could better include your perspectives?" Practice reframing criticism as dialogue. Rather than viewing feedback as a verdict, treat it as data. If the criticism is valid, thank the person for sharing and discuss possible solutions. If you disagree, express your position calmly, offering reasons while validating their experience. When delivering criticism yourself, strive for constructiveness. Use I statements. I noticed that instead of "you always," focus on behaviors, not character. Pair observations with potential solutions. I've seen missed deadlines on our project. Is there a way we can improve our workflow together? Follow up with empathy and respect. When someone entrusts you with feedback, honor their vulnerability. Express appreciation, even if the criticism stings. Recognize that sharing constructive criticism requires courage. Overcoming defensiveness is key. Remind yourself it's about improvement, not punishment. Maintain composure and open-mindedness. Avoid personalizing every critique. If emotions run high, suggest a break and revisit the conversation later. Constructive dialogue flows from mutual respect, trust, and shared purpose. After addressing feedback, work collaboratively to set actionable goals or adjustments. If misunderstandings persist, revisit them calmly, seeking deeper clarity. In daily life, turning criticism into productive conversation enriches relationships, grows competence, and demonstrates maturity. By viewing criticism as a gateway rather than a blockade, you transform conflicts into moments of connection and advancement. Absolutely. I understand you've used a template referencing a target language, but your instructions specify that replies should be in English. I'll create a captivating book title in English using your keywords, list 8 book sections, and provide comprehensive content for the introduction and all chapters as requested. Chapter 9. The Art of Asking the Right Questions. In every conversation, the questions we ask shape the direction and depth of the dialogue. Skillful questioning is the foundation of positive communication and the first step in transforming conflicts into connections. When conflict arises, emotions run high, and assumptions often cloud our understanding. Asking the right questions clears the fog, encourages openness, and uncovers what truly matters to those involved. But what does it mean to ask the right question? At its core, a good question is one that invites honesty, reflection, and mutual exploration. Rather than making assumptions or assigning blame, effective questions seek clarity and foster curiosity. For example, instead of asking, "Why did you do that?" which may sound accusatory, you might ask, "Can you help me understand what led you to make that decision?" This subtle shift invites explanation without judgment. Open-ended questions are particularly powerful. They encourage expansive answers rather than simple yes or no responses. Consider the difference between "Are you upset?" and "How are you feeling about what happened?" The former restricts the conversation. The latter opens the door to deeper feelings and perspectives. Asking the right questions also means listening to both the verbal and non-verbal cues provided in response. Great communicators are attuned to what's said and unsaid, reading body language, tone, and underlying emotion. For instance, a person responding with guarded words but displaying a tense posture may reveal discomfort not fully expressed. By noticing these signs, you can follow up with questions like, "I sense this topic is hard for you. Is there something you'd like to share?" Timing plays a vital role. In moments of high emotion, it is often wise to wait until some tension has dissipated before probing deeper. Rushing to interrogate can intensify defensiveness. Instead, calming the atmosphere, perhaps by acknowledging feelings first, creates a safer space for meaningful questions. Questions must also be tailored to the individual. Not everyone communicates in the same way, and cultural norms, personality traits, and past experiences color their responses. Some may prefer directness, while others require gentler inquiry. The key is sensitivity and adaptability. Here are practical steps to master the art of asking the right questions. Start with curiosity. Enter the conversation with the intention to learn, not to win or prove a point. Use open-ended phrasing. Begin questions with "How?" "What?" or "Can you tell me more about?" Avoid loaded or leading questions. Stay away from phrasing that implies judgment, such as, "Don't you think that was wrong?" Show empathy. Validate feelings with questions that acknowledge emotion. "It seems you're frustrated. Do you want to talk about it?" Listen between the lines. Pay attention to body language, tone, and what is omitted. Follow up thoughtfully. Ask clarifying questions to ensure mutual understanding. "Did I understand you correctly when you said?" Respect boundaries. If someone is unwilling to answer, respect their choice and offer reassurance. In practice, the art of questioning is transformative. For example, imagine a workplace disagreement over roles and responsibilities. If you start by accusing, "Why aren't you doing your part?" you invite defensiveness. If instead you ask, "What do you need to feel supported in your role?" you signal trust and an eagerness to collaborate. Asking the right questions enables people to lower their guard, express vulnerabilities, and connect on a deeper level. It supports both parties in disentangling misunderstandings and in constructing new, shared meanings. Throughout this book, the art of the question will appear again and again because it is the cornerstone of every successful conflict transformation and connection. Mastery of this skill sets the stage for productive dialogue where every question unlocks potential for shared solutions, empathy, and ultimately connection. Chapter 10. Navigating difficult conversations with grace. Difficult conversations are among the most dreaded aspects of human interaction. Whether confronting a loved one about a hurtful action, delivering critical feedback at work, or addressing contentious issues in the community, such discussions often trigger anxiety and discomfort. Yet these very moments hold the promise of profound growth and deeper relationships if handled gracefully. Grace, in the context of communication, is about approaching others with dignity, respect, and compassion, even when emotions run high or the stakes are considerable. It is the capacity to remain grounded, empathetic, and thoughtful, even amidst disagreement or tension. Navigating difficult conversations with grace does not mean avoiding conflict. Rather, it means engaging with openness, integrity, and the intention to understand. The first step in grace-filled dialogue is preparation. Before entering a challenging discussion, take time to clarify your intentions. Are you seeking to vent frustration or to resolve an issue? Remove emotional volatility from the forefront. Commit to listening and finding resolution. Sometimes, a brief period of reflection or journaling can help you center yourself and identify the outcome you truly desire. Equally important is acknowledging your own emotions and those of the other person. If you approach the conversation already agitated or defensive, the other party will likely mirror your state. Instead, validate both your own feelings and those of your counterpart. You might say, "I realize this is a tough topic for both of us. I want us to work through it together." Setting the right environment matters. Choose a neutral location, free from distractions, where both parties feel safe to express themselves honestly. Time the conversation appropriately, avoiding moments of peak stress or exhaustion. Sometimes simply waiting for a calmer moment can make all the difference. During the conversation itself, employ active listening. Notes of grace can be found in truly hearing the other person, by maintaining eye contact, gently nodding, and paraphrasing their statements to confirm understanding. When you listen attentively, the other party feels valued and respected. Resist the urge to interrupt, defend, or rebut immediately. Instead, pause and let the conversation unfold. If criticism or blame arises, breathe and choose curiosity over retaliation. That's an interesting point. Can you tell me more about what led you to think that? Express yourself with honest vulnerability. Share your feelings without accusation using I statements. "I felt hurt when," or "I'm worried that." This reduces defensiveness and encourages reciprocal openness. Nonverbal communication is powerful. A soft tone, relaxed posture, and appropriate gestures can communicate calm and reassurance even when words are hard. Be mindful of your body language. Strive to align it with your words. Remember, difficult conversations are rarely resolved in a single exchange. They require patience, persistence, and often multiple rounds of dialogue. If things get too heated, it's graceful to propose a pause. "I think we need a break to process. Can we continue this when we're both calmer?" After the conversation, reflect on what went well and what could have been handled differently. Apologize when necessary and demonstrate willingness to adjust your approach in future interactions. Navigating difficult conversations with grace is a learned skill, cultivated through practice and self-awareness. With each attempt, you build resilience and relational depth. The discomfort of confrontation transforms into the satisfaction of mutual understanding and progress. Ultimately, grace in dialogue means honoring the humanity of those you encounter, even in times of conflict. It's about choosing connection over division, solution over blame, and empathy over estrangement. With practice, Your ability to navigate tough conversations will not only strengthen your relationships, it will enrich your understanding of yourself and others. Chapter 11. Transforming anger into understanding. Anger is a powerful and complex emotion, often misunderstood, feared, or quickly suppressed. Yet when harnessed thoughtfully, anger can serve as an entry point for deeper understanding, empathy, and transformation. Positive communication does not require the elimination of anger, but the conscious navigation of its energy toward constructive outcomes. At its core, anger signals unmet needs, violated boundaries, or perceived injustices. When left unmanaged, it can escalate conflict, erode trust, and damage relationships. However, by transforming anger into understanding, we turn a destructive force into a catalyst for growth. To begin, it is vital to acknowledge anger without judgment. Avoid labeling it as bad or shameful. Instead, see anger as a natural human response, one that offers insight into what matters most to us. Ask yourself, what is my anger trying to tell me? This introspection helps separate the emotion from impulsive reactions. Self-awareness is key. When you feel anger rising, slow down. Notice the physiological signs: tense muscles, rapid heartbeat, clenched fists. Pause before responding. Take a few deep breaths or count to 10. This brief moment creates space for reflection and prevents knee-jerk responses that may intensify the conflict. Once calm, explore the root of your anger. Is it frustration from feeling unheard? Disappointment over unmet expectations? Hurt from a perceived betrayal? Articulating the underlying cause allows for clearer self-expression and invites the other party to understand your perspective. Communicating anger constructively is an art, whose statements are again essential. Instead of accusing, "You never listen to me," express, "I feel upset when I don't feel heard." This approach shares emotion without inciting defensiveness. Active listening extends to those on the receiving end of anger as well. Rather than dismissing or arguing, show empathy. "I can see this is really important to you. Can we talk about what's upsetting you?" Engaging in dialogue rather than confrontation transforms the dynamic. Transforming anger also involves recognizing and honoring boundaries. If someone expresses anger appropriately, respect their space and validate their feeling. It's okay to feel angry. "How can I support you right now?" On the other hand, if anger crosses into aggression, calmly assert boundaries. "I'm happy to talk when we can both do so respectfully." Reframe anger as a signpost. What values or needs are at stake? Perhaps you value fairness, security, or trust. By naming these needs, you shift from blame to mutual understanding. "It's important to me that we both feel safe in this conversation." Practically, consider these steps to channel anger toward understanding. Pause and self-regulate. Avoid acting on anger impulsively. Seek the underlying need. Ask, what is my anger protecting or expressing? Express feelings clearly and respectfully. Use I statements and avoid accusations. Listen to others' emotions. Offer empathy and validate their perspective. Negotiate and problem solve. Focus jointly on finding solutions rather than winning arguments. Reflect and learn. After the conflict, consider what the anger revealed about you and your relationship. Over time, transforming anger into understanding builds emotional intelligence, resilience, and deeper connections. Anger, used wisely, signals where change and attention are needed, and when met with openness and empathy, it spurs healing and growth. In families, this skill enables loved ones to express frustrations without tearing each other down. In workplaces, it fosters honest feedback while preserving team cohesion. In friendships, it creates a safe space for vulnerability and truth. Remember, anger is not the enemy. It is a messenger. By listening to its message and responding with understanding, you build bridges instead of walls. Conflicts that begin in anger can end in clarity, respect, and even closeness when positive communication leads the way. Chapter 12, The Science of Tone, How Voice Shapes Connection. If words are the melody of human communication, then tone is its harmony. The science of tone, how pitch, volume, pace, and inflection influence dialogue, is a cornerstone of positive communication. Words may express intent, but tone conveys emotion. Often, what we really hear in any interaction is not just the words spoken, but the feeling behind them. Research in neuroscience and psychology affirms that tone shapes perception more profoundly than language alone. Studies show that listeners derive as much as 93% of emotional meaning from nonverbal elements, tone, facial expression, and body language, while only 7% comes from the literal words. Misalignment between words and tone creates confusion, mistrust, and escalates conflict. At its most basic, tone is the music of our voice, the shifts in pitch, rhythm, and volume that signal our feelings and intentions. A soft, gentle tone invites openness. A harsh, clipped one can signal irritation or impatience, even if the words themselves seem neutral. Consider a simple phrase, "Can we talk?" Spoken softly, it suggests care and concern. Spoken with a raised voice, it implies urgency or anger. The difference has profound effects on how the listener responds, either with trust and collaboration or with defensiveness and resistance. Positive communication harnesses the power of tone intentionally. It begins with self-awareness, noticing how you sound and observing the reactions of others. Ask yourself, does my tone reflect my true intention? If you seek connection, but your voice sounds angry or impatient, recalibrate to match your intention with your delivery. Pay attention to these elements. Pitch. High pitch often signals excitement or anxiety, while low pitch suggests calm or authority. Volume. Loud volume can feel overwhelming or aggressive. Soft volume is reassuring but can sometimes lack authority. Pace. Rapid speech may signal stress or urgency. Slow, deliberate speech conveys thoughtfulness and care. Inflection. Rising and falling patterns in speech add nuance. A monotone can seem disengaged or bored. Matching your tone to your message is crucial, especially when resolving conflict. Apologies delivered in a dismissive or sarcastic tone erode trust. Requests made gently are more likely to be fulfilled. Criticism delivered kindly invites growth, while the same words with a harsh tone provoke defensiveness. Receiving tone is equally important. When you feel triggered by someone's tone, pause before reacting. Reflect, is what I'm hearing about their words or how they're saying them? Sometimes offering feedback, I feel tense when you raise your voice. Can we talk calmly? Can reset the emotional climate. Here are strategies to master the science of tone. Record and review. Listen to how you sound in daily conversations or role plays. Notice shifts in emotion and connection. Practice emotional regulation. Slow your speech and lower your pitch when you feel stressed. Use reflective listening. Mirror the tone of others to show empathy, then guide the conversation to a steadier emotional ground. Check for congruence. Align your tone with your intent and desired outcome. Invite feedback. Ask others how your tone affects them and adjust based on their responses. In a world of text-based communication, tone can be lost, leading to misunderstandings. When face-to-face or on calls, prioritize a clear, intentional tone to maintain clarity and warmth. Ultimately, tone is the invisible thread that weaves connection or division. By mastering its science, you create conversations that feel safe, sincere, and constructive, even in moments of conflict. The right tone turns routine exchanges into opportunities for trust, teamwork, and healing, ensuring your words not only reach the listener's ears, but also their heart. Chapter 13, Forgiveness and Communication, Healing Through Words. Forgiveness stands among the most profound gifts we can offer in times of conflict. It is the act of releasing resentment, letting go of grievances, and opening the door to healing and renewal. Yet forgiveness does not happen in a vacuum. It is cultivated through intentional communication. where words hold the power to mend wounds and restore trust. When conflict or hurt arises, the temptation is often to withdraw, ruminate, or retaliate. These responses perpetuate pain and distance. Forgiveness, on the other hand, bridges the gap, allowing both parties to move forward with less burden and greater empathy. Positive communication is both the pathway to forgiveness and the evidence of its presence. Forgiving does not mean forgetting or excusing harm. Rather, it is a conscious choice to release the hold of anger and resentment and to seek understanding and reconciliation. Communication is central to this process. Healing words, expressed with sincerity and empathy, can soothe emotional injuries, clarify misunderstandings, and rebuild connection. The journey toward forgiveness begins with honest expression. If you have been hurt, speak your truth clearly and calmly. Use I statements to describe the impact of the event, rather than assigning blame. For example, I felt deeply hurt by what happened, and it's been difficult for me to move past it. This vulnerability opens space for genuine dialogue. When seeking forgiveness, humility and accountability are essential. Apologize without qualifications, avoiding defensiveness or minimization. A sincere apology sounds like, "I'm truly sorry for what I did. I understand that my actions hurt you, and I regret that." Such words signal acknowledgement and remorse, laying the foundation for potential forgiveness. Forgiveness is also about active listening. Encourage the hurt party to express their feelings, fears, and hopes. Be prepared to hear difficult truths without interrupting or justifying. Offer validation. "I hear how much pain this caused you, and I understand why it's hard to forgive. Some conflicts require deeper reflection and time. Do not rush the process. Allow space for emotions and healing to unfold. Affirm your willingness to maintain open communication. I am here when you're ready to talk more. Forgiveness often involves compassionate boundaries. Sometimes relationships may need to be redefined or even ended to protect well-being. Communicate your needs openly and respect the choices of others, even if it means moving apart. Consider these strategies for communicating forgiveness. Acknowledge harm. Clearly identify what occurred and its impact. Express sincere apology. Use honest, humble language. Invite dialogue. Encourage the other party to share thoughts and emotions. Clarify intentions. State your commitment to avoid repeating the harm. Affirm the relationship. Communicate your desire for healing and connection where appropriate. Respect boundaries. Honor decisions to reconnect or redefine the relationship. Forgiveness, cultivated through positive communication, transforms conflict into opportunity. It lifts emotional burdens, restores dignity, and makes space for renewed trust. In families, forgiveness rebuilds bridges after hurtful moments. In workplaces, it safeguards team cohesion. In communities, it heals divisions. Words are instruments of healing. Through conscious dialogue, marked by truth, empathy, and accountability, you unlock forgiveness in yourself and others. Healing through words does not mean erasing the past, but reimagining the future. One where conflicts end not with silence or bitterness, but with understanding and hope. Chapter 14. Building trust through honest expression. Trust forms the bedrock of every healthy relationship, professional or personal. Without trust, communication becomes guarded, superficial, and fraught with misunderstanding. Yet in a world where vulnerability is often mistaken for weakness, honest expression is one of the bravest and most powerful acts we can undertake. So what does it mean to build trust through honest expression? At its core, it means expressing your thoughts, feelings, and needs authentically, without manipulation or disguise. True honesty requires self-awareness, courage, and clarity. Yet when practiced, it paves the way for deep trust. Why honesty matters. When we communicate honestly, we are telling others that we respect them enough to share our true selves. This authenticity invites reciprocity. Others, sensing our openness, feel safe to be honest in return. Over time, this cycle establishes what psychologists call psychological safety, a space in which creativity, collaboration, and growth flourish. A lack of honesty erodes trust. Consider a colleague who agrees to a deadline while privately doubting it's possible. When they fail to deliver, the team loses faith, not just in their reliability, but in their integrity. Honest expression, by contrast, might sound like, "I'm concerned about the timeline. Here's what I can commit to." Such vulnerability may feel daunting, but it's a gift, not just to the team, but to oneself. Barriers to honest expression. There are various reasons why honest communication is challenging. Fear of rejection or judgment, desire to avoid conflict, social conditioning to prioritize politeness over authenticity. Yet, each of these can be overcome with practice and intention. For instance, reframing vulnerability as strength, recognizing that discomfort is often the precursor to deeper connection, and understanding that conflict, when navigated positively, leads to growth. Practical strategies. Check in with yourself. Before expressing yourself, take a moment to clarify your feelings and needs. Ask, what is true for me in this situation? This self-reflection fosters clarity and reduces reactive communication. Use I statements. Share your experience from your perspective, "I feel concerned about," or "I need clarity on," rather than blaming "you always," and which tends to trigger defensiveness. Be mindful of timing. Sometimes, honest expression is best saved for a moment when both parties are calm. Choosing the right time can ensure your message is received, not resisted. Pair honesty with compassion. Being truthful doesn't mean being harsh. Speak your truth gently, considering how your words may affect the other person. Compassion strengthens the impact of honesty. Acknowledge vulnerability. It's powerful to name your feelings. "This is difficult for me to say," or "I'm feeling nervous sharing this." Doing so creates space for empathy and connection. Case study. Consider Maya, a manager who struggled with giving honest feedback to her team. She feared being perceived as harsh or critical. Instead of directness, she often skirted around the issue, leading to confusion and recurring mistakes. With coaching, Maya learned to pair honest feedback with appreciation, saying, "I've noticed several strengths in your work, and I want to offer feedback to help you grow even more." Over time, her team began to trust her, knowing she valued their development and was committed to clarity. Exercises. Reflect on a recent conversation where you withheld honesty. What held you back? What did you fear would happen? Write a letter to yourself, expressing your feelings about a current challenge. No filters. Then decide what, if any, of that letter you want to share with another person. The ripple effect of honesty. When you express yourself honestly, you give others permission to do the same. You model courage, foster safety, and create relationships where transparency is the norm. While honesty may sometimes provoke discomfort, it ultimately leads to resolution, healing, and trust. In summary, building trust through honest expression isn't just about being truthful for truth's sake. It's about honoring others and yourself with transparency that enables authentic, durable connection. As you move forward, remember, honest communication is always worth the risk, for the rewards are immeasurable. Chapter 15, Negotiation as Connection. Not competition, negotiation is often viewed through the lens of competition. Two parties, each vying for the best possible outcome, pitted against one another in a zero-sum game. Yet this adversarial mindset frequently leads to stalemates, resentment, and broken relationships. What if instead we approach negotiation as an opportunity for connection? Redefining negotiation. At its best, negotiation is a collaborative process where both sides seek mutual understanding and respect. It requires shifting from the question, "How can I win?" to "How can we both succeed?" By reframing negotiation as connection, we prioritize relationship over victory, opening the door to creative solutions and enduring partnerships. The psychology of connection. Research shows that people are more likely to cooperate and find common ground when they feel heard, respected, and valued. Connection decreases defensiveness, increases creativity, and leads to outcomes that satisfy deeper needs. Negotiators who build rapport, listen actively, and empathize with the other party consistently achieve more durable agreements. Foundational principles. Curiosity over judgment. Approach negotiation with an open mind. Seek to understand the other party's needs, motivations, and concerns before asserting your own. Ask what's important to you, and tell me more. Emphasize common goals. Early in the negotiation, find areas of alignment. Even in heated disputes, people often share broader aims: security, growth, harmony. Naming these can create a sense of partnership and reduce antagonism. Listen to connect. Give full attention to what is being said and unsaid. Nonverbal cues, body language, tone, facial expressions offer clues to underlying emotions and priorities. Validate and acknowledge. Reflect back what you've heard. It sounds like you're looking for stability. Validation doesn't mean agreement. It means recognition. Frame solutions. Collaboratively, use language that invites joint exploration. How might we... Let's brainstorm together. What would work for both of us? Case study. Take the example of a parent and teenager negotiating curfew. Rather than dictating terms, the parent says, "I want you to be safe and I understand you value time with friends. Let's talk about what feels fair for both of us." Through dialogue, they discover that the teen is more willing to follow the curfew if they feel respected and involved in the decision-making process. Navigating challenges. Negotiation doesn't always go smoothly. Tensions may arise or one party may become rigid. Here, connection means acknowledging emotional intensity. "I sense this is really important to you. I want to understand." Pausing to recognize emotion before pressing for a solution often unlocks the conversation. Avoiding pitfalls. Don't rush to win. Impatience can sabotage a connection. Take the time needed to fully explore before moving to closure. Resist manipulation. Connection relies on genuine exchange, not coercion or deceit. Be transparent about your intentions. Don't sacrifice self-interest. Connection doesn't mean capitulation. Honor your needs while remaining open to others. Exercises. Reflect on your most recent negotiation. Did you listen as much as you spoke? Where could you have created more connections? Practice negotiating a small issue, a restaurant choice or movie, with the explicit goal of building connection, not winning. The legacy of connected negotiation. Negotiation as connection fosters goodwill, strengthens relationships, and enhances problem-solving. It transforms adversaries into allies. Even in complex, high-stakes situations, such an approach leads to agreements that stand the test of time. Conclusion. By viewing negotiation as an act of connection, you change the tone and outcome of every interaction. Instead of leaving relationships battered, you depart stronger, wiser, and more deeply connected. The next time you find yourself at the negotiation table, remember, your greatest asset is the bridge you build, not the ground you claim. Chapter 16. Creating win-win. Outcomes in conflicts. Conflict may seem like a battlefield, a place where sides compete for dominance, resources, or validation. In truth, conflict is an opportunity. The concept of win-win outcomes stands at the heart of positive communication, offering a pathway beyond zero-sum thinking towards solutions that uplift everyone involved. Understanding win-win. A win-win outcome is one in which all parties feel their key needs and interests have been met. This doesn't mean everyone gets everything they want, but it does mean no one leaves feeling cheated, belittled, or invisible. The power of win-win. Thinking. Win-win solutions build trust, foster collaboration, and lead to durable agreements. They cultivate goodwill, sparking further cooperation. They turn us versus them into we, shifting the shared energy toward mutual benefit. Steps to creating win-win outcomes. Shift perspective. Before entering a conflict, ask, what would a solution look like where everyone feels good about the outcome? This mindset opens space for creativity and possibility. Uncover needs and interests. Go beneath positions, I want X, to underlying needs. I want to feel secure. I value autonomy. I need clarity. Needs drive positions. By illuminating needs, you empower solution building through brainstorm together. Invite all parties to suggest solutions, no matter how outlandish. Suspend judgment. Creative brainstorming often reveals options not previously considered. Look for expandable pie. Ask yourself, is there a way to expand the options rather than fight over fixed resources? Often, apparent limitations mask underlying abundance. Build on agreements, highlight common ground. We both agree that incremental agreement fosters momentum and reduces resistance. Test solutions, review proposals from every angle. Will this work for you? Does it meet my key needs? If not, revise until consensus is reached. Case study. Consider a workplace scenario. Two team members, Tom and Jane, both want to lead a project. Rather than compete, their manager invites them to outline their goals and motivations. Tom seeks visibility for future promotion. Jane wants experience managing teams. Together, they structure the project, so Tom presents progress to executives while Jane organizes the team's workflow. Both are satisfied, neither feels diminished. Barriers to win-win outcomes. Fixed mindset. Believing that gain for one means loss for another. Poor listening. Inability to hear beyond initial demands. Lack of trust. Fear that others will take advantage of flexibility. Overcoming barriers. Building trust and listening deeply. As previous chapters discussed, form the foundation. Frame conflict as a shared puzzle, not a contest. Celebrate incremental agreement. Exercises. For an ongoing conflict, map out your position and what underlying needs drive it. Then try to guess the other party's needs. Engage in a brainstorming session where every idea is welcomed, focusing on creative, non-traditional solutions. Win-win and relationship growth. Win-win isn't just a tool, it's a philosophy. It asserts dignity for all parties and invests in relationship longevity. You're not solving a single problem, you're paving the way for future trust and cooperation. Conclusion: conflicts don't have to end in casualties. With intention, empathy, and creativity, every dispute can be transformed into an opportunity for shared success. The win-win approach lights the path towards positive communication, one where no one loses and everyone grows. Chapter 17, Communication in Love, Strengthening Bonds. Love, in its many forms, thrives on the currency of communication. Partners, spouses, family members, and close friends rely on dialogue, not just for exchanging information, but for building trust, intimacy, and a sense of safety. Yet even the most loving relationships can falter when communication breaks down. The power of vulnerability. At the heart of positive communication in love lies vulnerability. To communicate positively means to allow yourself and your partner to be seen, heard, and understood without fear of judgment. It means speaking your truths and listening to the truths of others. Vulnerability, however, does not come easily. Past wounds, fear of rejection, and cultural conditioning often lead us to withdraw or defend, rather than reach out. The antidote is intentional openness, creating safe spaces where honest conversations about fears, desires, boundaries, and dreams can unfold. This doesn't mean all discussions will be easy. Rather, it means both partners commit to approaching each other with curiosity and compassion. Language that heals, not hurts. The how of communication matters as much as the what. Words of appreciation, encouragement, and respect reinforce positive feelings. Conversely, criticism, sarcasm, and contempt can erode even the strongest bonds. Positive language is not about avoiding difficult topics. It's about framing them constructively. For example, instead of "you never listen to me," try "I feel unheard and would love to share something that matters to me." This shift focuses on the speaker's feelings rather than assigning blame, making the recipient less likely to respond defensively. Active listening as love. In action, communication in love is incomplete without active listening. Many couples talk, but do not truly hear each other. Active listening involves presence, remove distractions and focus wholly on your partner. Reflection, paraphrase to show understanding. So what you're saying is validation, affirm the other's emotions. Even if you don't agree, I understand that you feel. This practice enhances empathy, diffuses tension, and fosters intimacy. Navigating conflict with grace. No relationship is free from conflict. Positive communication transforms these moments from battlegrounds to opportunities for growth. The key steps include: stay calm, take deep breaths. Respond, don't react. Focus on solutions, shift from "who's at fault" to "what can we do together?" Agree to disagree, respect differences. Unity does not demand uniformity. Couples can use "I" statements, stick to the issue at hand, and avoid bringing up past grievances. Building rituals of connection, consistent practices, daily check-ins, expressing gratitude, or sharing weekly reflections on the relationship can deepen bonds. These rituals remind partners of their commitment and keep communication channels open. The role of forgiveness and repair. Mistakes are inevitable. What matters is how we repair after being hurt. Sincere apologies, listening to the pain caused, and making amends are powerful communication acts. Forgiveness is not forgetting, but releasing resentment to make space for renewal. Positive communication for lasting love. In summary, love flourishes when partners communicate with honesty, empathy, and respect. By practicing vulnerability, positive language, active listening, graceful conflict resolution, and forgiveness, couples build resilient, joyful, and deeply connected relationships. Love, after all, is communicated one conversation at a time. Chapter 18, Communication in Leadership, Inspiring Teams. Leadership is less about authority and more about influence. The power to motivate, unify, and guide individuals toward a shared vision. Central to this is the art of positive communication. The leader's voice, a leader's words, carry weight. Teams look to their leaders not just for direction, but also for acknowledgement, reassurance, and feedback. Positive communication in leadership begins with clarity, ensuring every message is understood, appreciated, and aligned with organizational values. Modeling integrity and transparency. Leaders inspire trust when they communicate transparently. Sharing information openly, admitting mistakes, and honoring commitments create an environment where team members feel psychologically safe. Transparent leaders use positive communication to define goals succinctly, keep teams informed about changes, explain the why behind decisions, invite questions and feedback without fear of reprimand. Empowering through encouragement. Appreciation is a powerful motivator. Leaders who regularly recognize effort, celebrate achievements, and express gratitude foster a culture of engagement. Positive feedback encourages growth and signals that every contribution matters. Public praise, written notes, or personal acknowledgement during meetings can boost morale and enhance loyalty. Navigating difficult conversations. Leaders must address underperformance, conflict, or organizational changes. Positive communication turns potentially demoralizing interactions into constructive dialogue. Focus on specific behaviors, not character. I noticed the project deadline was missed. Offer support and resources. How can I help you? Succeed? Keep critique balanced with affirmation. When employees feel respected and supported, they're more willing to accept guidance and improve. Building inclusive teams. Teams thrive when every voice is valued. Leaders can facilitate inclusive communication by actively soliciting input and embracing diverse perspectives. Ground rules for meetings, such as one person speaks at a time or all ideas are welcome, ensure equal participation. Empathy is essential. Listening to concerns and personal stories enriches understanding and connection. Communication, strategies for remote teams in today's global workplace. Positive communication transcends geography. Remote teams benefit from clear written guidelines, scheduled check-ins, and virtual spaces for transparent updates and informal connections. Leaders should be proactive in addressing misunderstandings promptly and ensuring that remote members feel part of the collective mission, fostering resilience and adaptability. Change, whether external disruption or internal restructuring, tests team morale. Positive communication helps teams navigate uncertainty by affirming the team's strengths, emphasizing shared purpose, reframing challenges as opportunities for learning. Open forums, regular updates, and honest dialogue support resilience and adaptability, the ripple of leadership. Ultimately, the way leaders communicate shapes not just team performance, but organizational culture. Positive communication from the top cascades into daily interactions, setting standards for mutual respect, collaboration, and innovation. Leadership is a conversation, one that inspires people to do their best together. Chapter 19, The Ripple Effect, How Positive Communication Spreads. Communication does not occur in a vacuum. Every interaction sets off ripples, influencing individuals, groups, and even entire communities. Social contagion, the science behind the ripple effect. Research in psychology shows that emotions, attitudes, and behaviors, including those conveyed through communication, are contagious. When one person communicates positively, it increases the likelihood that others will respond with similar openness, empathy, and respect. Workplaces with leaders and team members who prioritize positive communication experience higher engagement, loyalty, and overall well-being. Micro moments of connection. Often, it's the small exchanges, a smile, a thank you, a supportive message, that create waves of goodwill. These micro moments accumulate over time, shaping environments where people feel valued and connected. Family and parenting dynamics. Parents and caregivers who practice positive communication model behaviors that children carry into adulthood. Constructive feedback, emotional validation, and gentle correction foster children's self-esteem and relationship skills. Households woven together by kind, honest conversations become sanctuaries of trust and growth. Community and social change. Positive communication at scale drives cultural and social progress. Community leaders, educators, and activists create safe forums for dialogue, bridge divides, and unite diverse groups around common goals. Public discourse, whether in town halls, online forums, or media, benefits when voices are respectful, inclusive, and solution-oriented. The digital ripple. Social media amplifies every message. Negative commentary can perpetuate cycles of outrage and polarization, while positive communication, thoughtful posts, supportive comments, campaigns celebrating kindness can counteract toxicity, foster understanding, and build online communities grounded in respect. Cultivating digital empathy, setting boundaries, and challenging harmful narratives clarify social contagion's direction toward positive connection. Overcoming negativity. Bias. Humans are wired to notice threats. In conversation, negativity can easily drown out praise. Consciously emphasizing positive communication doesn't ignore problems, but balances critique with encouragement and hope. Practicing gratitude, celebrating progress, and acknowledging effort change the tenor of interactions both personally and collectively. Multipliers. Be the change. Each individual can be a multiplier. Someone whose positive communication inspires others to do the same. When you offer genuine compliments, listen patiently, reframe complaints as opportunities, apologize sincerely, stand up for respectful dialogue. You multiply moments of connection and create a broader impact, changing the world, one conversation at a time. The ripple effect reminds us that our conversations matter. By choosing positive communication, even in challenging circumstances, we contribute not only to healthier relationships and happier workplaces, but to a more compassionate, united world. The most profound changes often begin with the simplest acts: a word of encouragement, a gesture of understanding, an invitation to dialogue. Chapter 20, A Life of Connection, Practicing Communication as a Way of Being. To live a connected life means embracing communication as an ongoing, integral practice, a way of relating to ourselves and others with intention, awareness, and heart. Self-reflection and inner dialogue. Positive communication starts with self-awareness. Our internal conversations shape our attitudes, choices, and the ways we relate to others. Self-talk that is compassionate, affirming, and honest sets the tone for external interactions. Reflect regularly. What am I feeling? What do I need? How can I express this constructively? Mindful communication. Mindfulness, living in the present moment with non-judgmental awareness, transforms communication. Mindful communicators pause. Before responding, consider others' perspectives and engage with full attention. Begin conversations with intention, bringing clarity to purpose, whether it's to solve a problem, share a joy, or offer comfort. Emotional intelligence in practice. Emotional intelligence, EQ, integrates self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, and social skills. High EQ communicators recognize and manage their own emotions while responding thoughtfully to others. Developing EQ enhances understanding, fosters resilience, and deepens relationships. Building bridges across differences. Positive communication is especially vital in bridging divides, be they cultural, generational, or ideological. Seek common ground through curiosity, suspend judgment, and invite storytelling. Ask open-ended questions. Tell me more about your experience. Listen not to fix, but to understand. Consistency and integrity. Trust thrives when words align with actions. Practice consistency. Show up reliably, follow through, and honor your commitments. Integrity in communication is the bedrock of enduring relationships. Rituals for connection. Infuse daily life with conscious rituals, family meals without screens, regular check-ins with colleagues, and a weekly gratitude journal. These habits sustain ongoing dialogue and reinforce connection. Giving and receiving feedback. Communicate feedback as a gift, intended for growth. Offer observations with kindness. I noticed you handled that situation thoughtfully. Receive feedback with openness, examining your blind spots and celebrating strengths. Learning to both give and receive in the spirit of partnership enriches bonds. The lifelong journey. Practicing positive communication is lifelong work. There will be setbacks, misunderstandings, conflicts, moments of impatience. The key is to return again and again to your intention, to create connection, healing, and understanding. Embrace communication as a way of being, not an occasional tool. By doing so, you transform not only your relationships, but your way of life. If you found this video helpful, inspiring, or entertaining, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on future content. Your support means the world. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.